Hi everyone, Jacqueline Szablowski here. I wanted to talk quickly, briefly about the Four Agreements. It's a book that has absolutely changed my life. When I first read this book, it was everything that I knew to be the truth. And the truth, I mean here, within the soul, within the spirit, all written out in a book. And it had some very clear-cut, easy directions on how to transform your life. And it was, for me, I always refer to this book as a game changer. And it's one of my favorite books to buy for people when they're looking to change their life in any way. In recovery, addiction recovery, in any type of recovery, coming out of a divorce, whatever it looks like. It's just a really transformational book. So Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote this book, took this book from ancient Toltec wisdom. So you might have heard of the Mayas in Mexico, which were known for the seventh wonder of the world and really accurate calendars. But it was the Toltecs that really had a ton of wisdom. And he was a surgeon that had a near-death experience and ended up going into spirituality. This book, I think, sold over 6 million copies and has just been such a transformative book, I know, in my life personally. So I love this book and I wanted to share briefly about it. So what are the Four Agreements? So first I want to get into a little bit of what the Four Agreements really looks like and what they're talking about. They're talking about, he uses the word domesticated. So when he says the word domesticated, he talks about how from a young age, we're living by a set of rules, right? We're born into a certain language, we're born into a certain culture, and we haven't chosen that ourselves, right? It's something that has been given to us. So for 2 decades straight, we're embedded in all of these domestication, these domesticated ideals, beliefs, traditions, and we live in that. And trying to find out who we are is very difficult. So you have to kind of unwind all of it, right? So the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Basically, what he's trying to say is, speak with integrity. Don't use the word against others and yourself. One example that I like to use when I talk about this particular agreement is, instead of saying, you got to make a doctor's appointment, and instead of saying, oh, I'm too busy right now to make that doctor's appointment, how about changing the words and saying, I'm not making my health a priority, right? Huge difference there, but it's the truth. So being impeccable with your word and using your word really in the direction of truth and love, right? That truth and love has to come from knowing yourself too, and trusting in your own truth. So don't take anything personally is another agreement. And basically what that means is what others do is not because of you. People are operating from their level of consciousness, operating from what they've been conditioned to believe. It has nothing to do with you. It's a reflection. It's just a mirror of what's going on, right? And it's a projection of their own reality. And I have a little co-host here, which always jumps in. So when you are immune to the actions of others and opinions of others, you won't be a victim of suffering, right? Because you can see through that. So often when somebody comes at me, it's very difficult because the ego in me wants to be hey, you're coming at me in a wrong way, or it's triggering something within me, and I can see that right away. So I try and tell myself, don't take anything personally, because it has really not much to do with me. It more so has to do with what's going on within them, right? Another agreement is don't make assumptions. So don't make assumptions basically is creating a narrative in your mind of what that other person believes and what they're thinking or what's going to transpire, when truly you haven't communicated what you want, and you have to really communicate what you want. And if you don't, you'll have misunderstandings, sadness, drama with people. And just with this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. To sit there and not create a narrative about what's going to happen and being present in the moment, and not basing it on past history, and just truly taking it and being a witness to what the situation really is majorly transformative. The last agreement is always do your best. So that changes from moment to moment. Some days I feel like, and I'll give an example, some days I feel like I'm a rock star mom, and I have gone to an amusement park, taken her to the beach, and, won all the games on the boardwalk, and, I did my best. Other times, what it might look like is just simply surviving the day, right? We've got to do all of the things that we need to get done. The house needs to be cleaned, the baby needs to be bathed, and so on and so forth, and so it changes from moment to moment. So doing your best, and acknowledging that you're doing your best, avoid self-judgment. And that's kind of what this agreement is about, is not to be judgmental of where you're at in that moment. Some days it looks differently than the next, and maybe from moment to moment it looks different. Now, these simple agreements, like I said, have absolutely transformed my life. And when I'm in a particular situation, I can always go back to one of these agreements and see where this is stemming and what's going on. So I just wanted to quickly talk about the 4 agreements and, share that wisdom. And, I'd like to do it piece by piece, because there's so much to talk about, and there's so many limiting beliefs that we have, and conditioned ideas, and truths that we've been told, this domestication that has happened within us and as a society. I mean, from school teachers to home to even just going in a store and acting a certain way. And there's so much to it, but to simply break it down, right? The 4 agreements. So you've got: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. Signing off with love.